Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Way of Life podcast. I'm your host, Gus Holland. So, um, I'm sitting here with Bonji Ganza, right? And, anyways, how have you been, man? It's been a while.
I've been good, brother. I feel like, I don't know, like stolen valor.
Stolen valor?
Not worthy to be here, but I'm glad to be here nonetheless.
Oh, whatever, dude. No, you're good, man. So, I guess let's start on, it's primarily a fitness, podcast and everything. And, I really wanted to cover your time in you said the sub branch of the military over in the Philippines, right?
Yes, it was a quick response unit for locally. The international Philippine Army is deployed differently, but the whole structure is very different. But if you had the credentials to serve, which luckily for me, I was a dual citizen, so that allowed me to be selected to be part of their teams. Ours was more so just like a miniature rapid response unit, but more so like gearing towards the medical portion of it. So we didn't have full breaching gear and things like that. It wasn't like that at all. It was more so, put it this way, a paramedic that's able to run with a small group to just kind of help out with any situation. So it wasn't necessarily a full-scale thing, but it was a privilege to be a part of for some time. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So, and how long did you serve with that?
With just the last year, because I was also there for my nursing school.
Okay.
And yes, I mean, like it was pretty busy. And if I wasn't part of the schooling portion of it, which they were gracious enough for me to do, I would be on raids and whatnot, or practice raids. There wasn't anything for us to really go intervene. There was an incident in 2018 where Marawi was attacked by a sub-branch of, I guess, ISIS. The Abu Sayyaf terrorist group was in Marawi, but that was like islands away, so we weren't able to respond to that. I would have been direct Philippine Army to intervene. So, yeah.
Okay. Man, that's crazy. I didn't even know, like all that went down with you. So,
yeah, I mean, there's not much that's transmitted from the Philippines anyway. Unfortunately, just because of how our democratic system is formed, it's kind of like we lean more towards China policy, and our checks and balances system is not complete like in the U.S. So it's very unfortunate, but still it's my people, and I adore them for what they are. It's just they kind of need to cement things home and definitely get rid of the corruption. So when I got back here, I was really thankful for how our system is set up, and kind of fortifies my way of American life and thinking, sometimes be it radical compared to my other batchmates or my group mates from back home. But we definitely shouldn't take things for granted. It's very different over there.
yeah, that's crazy. I've never personally been to the Philippines. I've been to Nicaragua in high school, but that was only for like 2 weeks. And then I've been to Thailand, and that was different too.
I bet that was fun though. I've never been to Thailand, but that seems interesting.
Yeah. It was more interesting than scary, But like Nicaragua was at least at the time was pretty scary. Like as far as like I mean, I was only there like 10 or 11 days, and we ran into and I was there like for missionary work, so we were trying to do like the most good, you know what I mean? And
of course.
And then we saw the cartel, and then like a bunch of like illegal activity basically, and it's crazy that the police over there are very militarized, so they just kind of ride around in trucks with like AKs, and so you're like, I was like, and for like an American, you're like, who is that? Like, you can't tell if they're like good or bad guys, you know? And they're like, oh no, that's the police, and they just like shoot on sight, basically. And I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So anyways, so so you said you did that for a year, about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So about like how long do they train you for, or like as far as like physical training goes? I know like different branches in the U.S. military like have different training techniques and stuff like that. So
Right. Well, as far as training and selection goes, we weren't special forces or anything like that whatsoever. So your basic military basic, I guess, is what you would consider it, your basic course.
Mm-hmm.
We were more so valued for our medical knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
for trauma and pretty much bleed stopping capabilities. We worked together as groups. We had commanding officers that presided over us to tell us what to do, and how to go about how to go about saving or doing interventions. Luckily for us, we didn't have, not that I know of, we didn't have anything that required us to really be in a pickle. I was kind of blessed to not really be in a firefight, honestly.
Yeah.
But there are some iffy moments where, because most of our incidences were all tropical based, and like disaster and flooding and things like that, and we were deployed for that kind of stuff. Maybe on the lines of Coast Guard, I would assume, because I've never been. But but the physical aspect of it was about a solid month of preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Running the basic things like sit-ups, push-ups, things like that. I was really happy that I wasn't part of. There was no hardcore water rescue.
Yeah.
The requirement, which if I'm going to be part of the rapid response unit here or part of SWAT, unfortunately, I'd have to actually do that.
Yeah.
So I have to get stronger at that. But just very basic stuff. Minimal deadlifts. I actually forgot how much it was, but the average Filipino is not built like me, so.
Yeah. Well, you're
advantage.
you're more muscular than at least other Filipinos that I've met, in the States, So, but yeah, that's crazy. So, what are you currently doing right now? Like your title, I know it's in the medical field still, but it's in the States.
Right. Yeah. As of right now, I can't say which hospital just for safety and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into the whole crossfires of it all, but right now I'm an ERGN, emergency technician still, with my EMTB. That's as high as it goes. As for the certification official title, which means that I'm able to give medication with the approval of an RN, since hopefully, Lord willing, I'll be an RN here soon, officially here, so I'll be able to be more autonomous. But that's basically what I am right now. I'm a GN in the ER.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. So like when you're RN, you can be like, "Oh, Bonji, do you suggest this medicine?" And you're like, "Yes, I do." And then no, just kidding. You're like, administer the morphine.
No. we have great medical doctors that it's nursing and physician work are two separate worlds, and it's not like in the movies where it's like, you concur, and it's like yes. It's like we work, we operate in two different hemispheres, and we basically our roles are to make sure our doctors are safe. Doctors' roles are to give us the order on what to do.
Yeah.
In terms of intervention, and it's an ecosystem of medical professionals that just kind of get together, but we have our own scope of service, and as long as we stay within that scope, we should be okay. And that's why I'm treading really lightly on what to say, because in a let's say, not necessarily here, but in a smaller facility, sometimes we may tend to overstep our bounds and be like, to our physicians who are very cool about it, and as long as they're giving us the green light to administer, then it would be okay. So,
okay.
under that guideline.
That's cool. Okay. Um, yeah. So, but I know, you have interest in joining the like SWAT here.
Yes.
I don't know
Yes.
how much you can talk about that really, or if you even want to.
Well, I mean, I've got basic knowledge on what I have to do. I met somebody who is kind of immersed in that world. Well, he's got a friend. Right now he's an IMC nurse right now. Yeah. He just transitioned. He was a paramedic. He was a life flight paramedic for I don't know how many years. I'd say 4, 5. But he's been a paramedic for nearly the majority of his life. Yeah. So he's got a lot of experience. And his friend, who is part of teams or tactical EMS, he gave him a list of things for me to do to accomplish in order to be part of the unit. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not. I haven't really talked to anyone else about this per se to kind of confirm. But if you want to know some information off the top of my head, I need my TTPOA Association Certification 1 and 2. And that is the Texas Tactical Police Officers Association. Mm-hmm. I'm also going to need my International Board of Specialty certification, some kind of tactical responder exam. I think my phone is dying here. I'm sorry, brother.
Oh, no, you're good.
And then after those certifications are out of the way, I would have to physically be on base, or what we would call a training facility here. I think the most known one is in Florence, Texas. Mm-hmm. It's a good 20. I don't know if... Here's the part where I don't understand is medically, we tether alongside a special unit is what I'm understanding. Mm-hmm. There's 2 physicians that used to be in charge of the rapid response unit for the medical portion that allows us to go with a rapid response unit. So we're like our own agency. But they would have to be the ones to sponsor or consider me to be worthy to be part of the team. Now, I don't know if I have to do the complete 23-week rigorous training along with the actual police officers that undergo the harshness of SWAT themselves, mm-hmm. or if it's more of the 6 weeks basic physicality to ensure that I'm not a weak link and part of that unit. Yeah, and then be not more of a hindrance than anything else. But we do have to know how these officers breach. We have to use our critical thinking in terms of who to save and what interventions to do, when to pull a sidearm and things like that, because we can't operate like a police officer. We're not certified to be police officers. We're more certified to be what keeps the team alive and prioritize the injured civilians that we come across. Yeah, that's our goal. Anyway, that's my first line of thought. It's not so much just being able to do what they would do. Is just, it's more of a intense support role. I just want to be able to have that grace, I guess, to cross the yellow tape, whereas other people are told to stay outside. I want to do something special with my life eventually, and I feel like that seems like my calling, because a lot of people wouldn't peg me to be that kind of person, like, oh, you're so nice or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of like I feel like the most critical, the most unfortunate people are the ones who don't make it to the hospital. People go to the hospital all the time and they're crashing, and we're trying to save them and things like that. But there's a lot of people out there that can't even make it there, and I feel like that's where God's put me to be a part of one day. But if not, there's other contingencies. But just to answer your question, that's what I know. I don't know. I cannot confirm or deny that's the actual road, but that's the road he gave me. Yeah, and I'm just kind of following it to as best as I can.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I don't know if you've seen. Are you on TikTok at all?
No.
Okay, I know. I'm old, man. I know. Well, I've got a bunch of younger siblings and stuff, so I'm on it. But there's this one dude that does a bunch of basically military humor videos, and he was kind of like not making fun of, but he was just like cracking jokes basically about how like he acted out a whole scenario where he was both the patient and the medic, and so he was like laying on the ground. He's like, oh, he's like, thank God you're here, you know. And he's like, am I gonna be okay? And he's like, oh man, yeah, you took a lot of damage. He's like, yeah, but you're gonna be okay. He's like, here, hold this, and he hands him his leg, and he's like, but he's like holding his leg. So, but no, I just thought that was funny. But um, so as far I know you talked about the timeline. Is that something that you can like start doing, or do you have to do like additional schooling, or like is there anything like holding you back from proceeding, or are you in the process of doing those different certifications?
For sure, I'm gonna have to get those. For sure, I'm gonna have to get those certs out of the way. And if I can find the charger, hopefully I won't embarrass you by dying out on you here.
No, yeah, you're good. We can. I can pause it for a second if you need.
Yeah. So, see if I can get this plugged in to. Here. Yeah, but no. I would have to officially get those certs out of the way first, anyway, regardless of being fully capable. Let's say I was physically ready and qualified to go. I would still have to get those certs in anyway, so it's not like it's something I could just do. But unfortunately, with my current status, I would have to definitely cross over fully as an RN to really help out. If not, it would force me to do the paramedicine road, which would take a while because I've never been officially trained as a paramedic. I was wanting to do that. Sorry, I'm trying to get a charger here, brother.
No, yeah, you're good.
I was really wanting to do that, but at the time, my dad had offered me the opportunity to go to nursing school, and I decided to do that instead. Let's see if I can just hold it or whatnot. So yeah, I've got an opportunity. Hopefully by January, I can start all that. And you know, I'm getting up there in age. I keep saying that I'm like, oh, I'm a grandpa, but I really am a grandpa because most young guys. I mean, most I guess competition, you would say, they're all like legit military background, right?
Yeah.
They were like Navy corpsmen, that kind of thing, where they've actually been in combat. They've been trained to breach appropriately with a group of people, and they just seem to know how to do things in place. Now, when I last talked to my med control, which is one of the doctors, he had pushed me to do this, and he had said that, well, you know what, physically we can always train you. We value the medical aspect of it. We value heart. And which means is, you know, the whatever distance you have to run, like for example, if you got to do like 20 miles or whatever, and or how many days, even if you're like straggling behind, you know, as long as you try to do the best you can to keep pace, even if you're crawling just to get to the finish line, they would definitely consider that too. But it seems like a weenie cop that way of saying, like, you know, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be able to do as good as these people. But the reality of thing is, a lot of these guys who have done this or in the business of doing it, they kind of have a one-up on me in the physical aspect of it. And since this is a physical podcast, you know, I'm gonna have to call in your services to
yeah.
get me up there.
Oh yeah, dude! I'll do it. I'll do it for free, man.
The water rescue has got me scared because I can barely save myself in the water, and we've got this exercise on paper anyway. You have to, like one of the high school pools or whatnot. It's just like a certain distance, right? And what they do is the instructors will just kick a cinder block in the water. Yeah. And what you have to do is you have to somehow surface and drag that cinder block across the pool, and then resurface, do a set amount of push-ups, and come back and do that for how many times they want you to do it. That's an exercise to basically, especially on a SWAT unit, you can't just be like, oh, there's water involved. Like if there's a hostage situation on Lake Bryan, for example, it's like, oh, well, I can't go because it's water. Yeah. You know, you have to be prepared for, not on a SEAL level, obviously, but to be like, you know, for the majority of the different types of environments you may or may not have to work with, you gotta be good at it. And unfortunately, water is my crutch.
Yeah. That that's always been mine. Like water. Like I mean, I can swim decently, but not to that level, you know. And um, I don't know. I just because I've always liked the idea of getting like a scuba certification, you know.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
And yeah, I gotta definitely like improve my lung function for sure, so I can hold my breath longer.
Well, I mean, the scuba aspect is cool. Like, if you're not claustrophobic or like scared of death or anything like that, it's to me, it's the creatures.
Yeah,
I mean?
sharks and
That's the thing.
yeah, dude. Yeah,
You can train all you can, but you won't be able to do jack squat with a shark. So
yeah, dude. Shit. Yeah. I mean, at like right now, I don't know. My nickname would probably be Boulder or something. And they'd be like, "Oh, because he's strong," and be like, "No, because he sinks." Like,
but it can go both ways. I mean,
yeah,
50-50. It can be a good thing.
yeah. They're like, this guy can get. He's gonna beat everyone to the bottom of the pool. but no,
Well, that is a good search, though. Think about it. In real life, I think I've only met one person with a diver cert. He was a respiratory therapist of all things.
oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's definitely worth it one day.
Yeah, yeah. No, my mom and stepdad recently got certified. Oh, not recently, like a couple of years ago, but that was more for like recreational, you know, like vacation shit, you know. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so okay, so I did want to talk to you. I know this is completely like off topic and everything, but I do want to talk to you about Gundam.
Did you say guns?
Gundam.
Oh.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, well, we can do both.
Yeah,
I don't care. But so I honestly don't know. It's weird. I don't know a lot about Gundam, to be honest. Like I've watched a lot of the anime, but it was when I was like really young, and so I don't really remember most of it. I know I played the shit out of one of the Gundam games on PlayStation 2. Like beat it like twice with a friend, you know, like
Was it like some Dynasty Warriors type thing? Because they had a crossover at one point.
No, it was, I mean, no, it wasn't that. It was no, I mean it was almost more like a Star Wars video game, you know, like out in space and like fighting
Okay.
other
That's
suits.
Like the OG,
yeah.
the OG Gundam stuff.
Yeah, so anyway, so like what would you okay, do you have like a favorite mobile suit or do you prefer like I guess like trying to like create your own basically?
Well, to answer that question, my favorite mobile suit would have to be the Wing Zero Proto or the Wing Zero Custom. Okay. Only because it's so iconic. I mean, like I started watching Gundam Wing when I was 14, and it's one of those mecha designs that's just it stands out because well, one the Proto Zero, just the way it's set up it's very destructive and it wasn't at the time there wasn't anything like it before. And when Endless Waltz came out, which is the movie version, the Wing Zero Custom Kai is it's the only Gundam that I know of that has physical wings. Well, it's not like feather wings or anything. It just happened to look like it. The way it's structured and designed in the show. Anyway, it's for like atmospheric re-entry, and that was actually the best way to have the mobile suit re-enter Earth's atmosphere without burning up or anything. It just happened to be in the shape of some wings, you know.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, customization is definitely cool. I definitely endorse that or condone it. Just if we're talking about show-wise, the Proto Zero and the Katoki Custom or the Zero Kai is definitely my favorite.
Okay, sweet. I know. So I don't know why, but I kind of know why. What are the blue mobile suits that are? I think they're like on the bad side, and they have like the they're like have one eye and like a little horn.
Okay. Gotcha.
Don't they start with a Z or something? I don't remember.
I I think you're referring to the Zaku's. The
Yes.
Zaku's and the Gift.
Yeah.
I actually have one right here.
Oh,
I haven't finished painting it. This is a commission for a friend. This is the R35 Guff that's a custom in one of the newer animes, so it's not like the OG Guff.
Okay.
But those mobile suits were basically originally created by the Zeon Front to kind of counter or to kind of subjugate the Earth Federation forces. And why I like Gundam so much is because, like, during its time, it was pretty groundbreaking because you have all these like sci-fi mech type animes, you know, with like superpowers and stuff. This was the first anime that I got to witness that was really keen on story, and people actually died, and it was more geared towards realism. So they took a lot of cues from World War I and II.
Okay.
Only they made it more sci-fi-ish. Even the protagonists and the antagonists were kind of loosely based off of people. I would assume anyway, just the way they conduct themselves, like Douglas MacArthur, Hitler, and all them. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was very neat. But those are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't really on board with because it wasn't until 8th MS Team and Gundam Thunderbolt that was, to me, was like, oh, those are awesome because it showed us both sides of war. It wasn't always black and white, and I love those types of animes where you can kind of see on the warring perspectives on both people.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So I mean, like, it's very cool. I mean, I would say if you were before like interested, definitely like find a time or something. It won't mess you up or anything. You'll definitely enjoy it. If anything, start with, if not a UC timeline, start with like 8th MS Team because it's only a certain amount of episodes, like under, what is it? Maybe even 12. Like it's under 20 if I remember correctly. And it just focuses on a small platoon out of this whole war. So you really get a feel for the characters, and even that short of time, it's really worth it.
Yeah.
It's very deep.
Okay. Yeah. I, as a kid, because I watched Gundam when I was a teenager, but like probably between the ages of like 10 and 15, you know? And I just remember like there was some sort of like, I think one of the good guys was fighting like somewhere between like 4 to 10 of those Goffs or Gaffs or however you say it, you know? And
the gift.
Yeah. And I know one of them pulled out like they kept it was cool because they just kept having different weapons. Like they looked the same, but they'd have like different customized weapons. You know, like one would have like this crazy machine gun, the other one had like a whip. The other one, they pulled out the whip, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's got a whip!" I don't know why. That's always cool in the anime. Yeah, dude, it's always
for sure, man.
like in, I mean, besides Indiana Jones, like in real life, like if I was serving overseas and some dude pulled out a whip, I'd be like, that's not cool. You're gonna die, you know. Like, but
he's got the range aspect.
Exactly, but like in like when it happens in anime, you're like, oh shit, he's got a whip. That's like a sign that he's a badass for some reason, you know. Like,
well, in some way, it definitely is because, like, I don't know, when the last time you pulled out your belt and tried to hit somebody with it, it's hard to control. So I'm like, if somebody can like adequately fight with a whip, there's like some mastery there. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Anyways, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about, either on the like the SWAT aspect or just Gundam or guns?
Well, speaking of guns.
yeah, you're like, speaking of guns, you pull out like...
Well, you know how I'm always like, I try not to be too controversial, you know? It's one of those things, man. Like, I don't want to make your podcast be all political. That's not my agenda or whatsoever. It's just, it's hard to have a different ideal. It's hard to have a different view these days, you know? And regardless of what topic you want to talk about, there's always somebody with an opposing thought. You know, somebody might think Gundam's retarded.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. It's just, But I miss our simpler days, man. I really do. I feel like I was blessed to be able to go to high school with you, and that was some really fun times that I wish I could cherish some more. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can't go back in time, obviously, we can only change the future. But there's a lot of people that are just now gone, and like, you know, I wish they were still there. And it makes you wonder how they were. Did you get to go to the Normandy reunion?
Dude, ours got like, well, not canceled, but ours never really got scheduled, I guess. At least to my knowledge, maybe I wasn't invited. But I graduated in 2010, so our 10-year would have been 2020, which was COVID. But they did, like, it was weird because before COVID, like a year or two before, so it would have been like around the 8 or 9 year mark. A couple of my former classmates like had thrown around the idea of having an early like get together thing, class reunion, and it kind of got shut down, and then COVID happened in 2020. So I mean, at this point, even if we had it next year, it'd be a 12-year reunion, you know. So I don't know if it's gonna happen or what. But no, we never really got together, at least to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm. So. I forgot when I got the invitation, but I was overseas when I did, and then I had to kindly decline.
Oh yeah,
there was no physical way for me to get to go.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're kind of in the same boat. We never really had a reunion, but you know, hats off to whoever's listening. That's part of Normandy. It was a nice batch, man, and it didn't seem like. Well, we use the term batch where I come from. It's like your graduate mates or whatever. But
yeah,
it didn't seem like. Since I know I graduated in 2008, but it felt like you and everybody else was still part of the group. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm really blessed to have started or finished rather in a smaller town, because it taught me a lot of values that I probably would have never even considered living in Houston or whatnot. Not to dock on those people who live in the big old cities, but yeah, like it really was. To me, it started to mold my character, I suppose, and I have Normandy to think about that, and the people I got to meet, and people giving me a chance, and meeting new friends that way.
Yeah.
Granted, I did lose all my friends here when I moved to the Philippines, and I lost all my friends over there moving back here. So I'm glad that you're still here.
Yeah, for sure. We'll stick around. We'll talk about guns and Gundam. So.
Heck yeah, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, yeah, literally. Okay, dude. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I think Zoom has a limit on how long I can record or whatever. But sure. I really appreciate you doing this, and I'll text you here in like a minute or so after I wrap up.
Yeah, and I'm also thankful for giving me the opportunity to be part of something that is like this. Never been on it before, so I hope it did it justice.
Yeah,
and I'm surprised Opie didn't say anything, because usually Opie's really loud. He's my pet flying 4-year-old back there.
Yeah, I saw him. I saw him crawling around. I saw him crawling around back there, but. So, all right, dude. Well, yeah. Thanks again, and I'll hit you up here in a minute.
Sure, man. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Have
sir.
a good night.
All right. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning into that latest episode. That was my friend Bonji Ganza. I've known him since junior high or high school, and he momentarily moved back to the Philippines after high school to finish his education and work in the military for them over there. He's now back in the States, and that's about it. Thanks again for listening, and y'all have a great day.